Hello everyone, Rosemary here from the Sweet Poppy Stencils design team. I hope you're all keeping well and enjoying the inspiration day. Today I'd like to share a tutorial with you using one of the new stencils. On this card I've used the smile stamp from Sweet Poppy Stencils, but I'm afraid it's no longer available. So today I'm going to use Good Friends Are Like Stars. You don't always see them, but you know they are there. This is from the Life's a Journey stamp collection, which is available from Sweet Poppy Stencils. So to make our card, we just need a 14cm square piece of card, watercolour or stamping card. We're going to use the Sprigs stencil, the new stencil called Sprigs. And I've made a background so I won't have to wait for it to dry or use the heat gun. So I've already pre-made my background. I'm going to show you how to make the background. So I'm using a dye-based ink with mica powder in it. There's lots on the market. They're all different kinds and all different colours, but I'm using Mysticals from Lavinia Stamps. You need a little bit of water to water it down with as well. And I'm going to use some mica powder. This is from Artzania and it's white cotton. Sweet Poppy Stencils do some lovely mica powders, but I've actually run out of my white, so I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use a Sweet Poppy brush on my stencil, and I'm going to use a silver pen. I'm also going to use VersaFine Clair Spruce for my card. Okay, so let's get started. So we're starting off with our 14cm piece of card, and we're going to just colour that background with our mica powder. So I'm going to spray my mica powder onto my mat. Just 2 little squirts. I've given it a good shake, so all the mica powder is infused in the card. And then I'm just going to spray a little bit of water. And then I'm going to spray a little bit of water onto my card as well. And then I'm just going to smooch my card through my water and my ink. And then I'm just going to press down. And there we go. Now I'm going to quickly give that a burst with my heat gun, because I'm going to dip it in there twice to get some nice texture on top of our main background. Just mop up the edge of my card. As you can see, I hope you can see the mica infusing into the card. I hope you can see that. So I'm just going to pick up the rest of my ink to give me a little bit more texture. Okay, so that's my next background. Okay, so I'll leave that to dry naturally now. And I'll just clean up my work surface. And there we are, we're all nice and clean. Now I'm going to use my card my background that I'd made earlier. And I'm going to get my I use a green cutting mat and I've stuck my magnetic sheet to it. Comes in handy if you want to do some cutting on the other side while you're working. And I'm going to take my stencil. I'm going to place it over the top of my card. As you can see, my card is the same size as the stencil. But I'm still going to mask off, sorry. I'm still going to mask off my edges. I think it's just from habit. I hope you're enjoying the new stencils. They really are very beautiful. I think the girls on the design team who designed these do a marvellous job. Okay, so this is where we're at now. So we're going to take our spruce ink and we're going to, oops, it's a new pad. It's one of the new colours. So it's a brand new pad and a bit stiff to get off. So I'm just going to use my Sweet Poppy brush, one of the new little ones. Just going to use that, and I'm gently going to dip it in the ink. And then I've got some scrap paper here. And I'm just going to gently dab that off so I don't get too much onto my stencil and my card, because it might make blobs and I really don't want any blobs. Tuck that under there, that's it. And then we can I'm just going in the center, staying in between the two edges of the metal lines for the main frame that goes round. There are some beautiful colours in the new VersaFine Clear inks. They're very nice. And I'm just gently brushing backwards and forwards. I don't know if you can notice, but the brush has like a little, like, oh, I can't remember what it's called. Never mind. But it comes in handy. I'll remember it later, hopefully. So I'm now going to go round in circular motion. Get some more colour on there. I don't usually use green, but I thought I'd do something different. I do like green though. So to get your ink round down onto your card, you can use circular motions and you can go backwards and forwards. Just get the ink off your brush. I don't mind if there's lighter bits and darker bits, because it just adds more texture to your finished product. I didn't quite know what to do. It took me ages to work out what to do. See, look, I didn't tap it off and I've got a blob there now. But we'll be able to shallow that down. Now on this one, I'm going to try and get into these little these little berries, and in between make sure we don't miss any bits. Now, so I've done the main frame and the images that are inside the main frame. I'm going to put a little bit more ink around here. I'm still using strokes and circular motion to get the ink off my brush. And I'm just going to do a little bit more in here, make sure that's all covered. And that's that part done. And now we're going to move on to the leaves that are inside the actual frame itself. So I'm just inking up my brush, dabbing the ink off, and I'm just going to gently go round. So I'm just coming outside the stencil, so I'm getting a little bit of a shadow on the outside of the stencil, making sure that inside is covered. So we're getting a little bit of a shadow outside each leaf. It adds to the card itself. I'm going to just do a little bit more in there so I know that shows up a little bit more. I'm going to turn it round now, just so the light reflects more on that part, so I can see when I've covered the actual pattern of the sprigs. Now I think this would look nice in a variety of different colours, even if it's just one colour. I've got some backgrounds I've already made, so I'm going to have a go at doing some different colours for it. So I actually think that's finished. So I'm going to take off my tape. And I'm going to pull my mat down to the edge, and I'm pushing down so that I can gently move my magnet, my stencil from my magnet sheet. And there we go. So that's that done. So I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to wash that later. Right, so I can get rid of that in the dustbin. Oh, actually I'll put that there like that, just in case we need to use it. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp our words. So we need our stamping platform if you use one, or an acrylic block if you don't. So I'm going to have my stencil so that my sprig is coming from left to right, and the small one is in the top right hand corner. And I'm going to put my words there. Aha. Now what I must do first, because I'm going to use embossing powder, I'm just going to give it a little quick blast on what I've just done, because I don't want my embossing powder to stick to the work that I've just done. So now I'm going to put my card back on my mat. And that's on the inside. There's a rubber mat there. I'm going to put my stamp there. Oh, hang on. Nope. Losing myself a bit now. So I'm going to just put on some powder. And then I'm going to put on my stamp. So I think my stamp will look quite nice there. And we're going to stamp with spruce as well. So I'm just going to press down on my stamp so that I hope it all takes straight away. Now, you don't have to use embossing powder. You can just leave it green. And actually, I prefer it green. I really, really do prefer it green. So I'm going to actually leave it green. I hope you don't mind. So I'll tell you what I'll do is I will actually stamp it on this piece of card here, and we'll emboss the piece of card and see how it comes out in silver. But I actually really do like it in green, and I've got a friend who loves green and she's got a birthday coming up soon. So let's stamp that out. Perfect. And we'll emboss this one in silver so that you can see how the silver comes out with the green ink underneath. I'll just get a clean piece of paper and I'll sprinkle my embossing powder. I didn't use my powder on my stamping before, on my card before, because I knew the ink wasn't wet. So I mean the background wasn't wet, so I had no fear of any embossing powder sticking to my background. Okay, so that's that. Now I'll show you that it still comes out really nice. See, now I actually like that now as well. So, dear. Let's see if we can still do that. Let's have a look, because we did actually do that. See, and as you can see that it still comes out in the silver colour, even though you've embossed, stamped your words with green. And this ink does stay wet for a while, so you can leave it for a while before you put your embossing powder on. Not too long, but you can leave it on for a while. Hopefully now this will work. We're all learning together, so that's good. So there we go. So that's nice. Okay. Now, the next part of our card is to actually do our silver highlights. So I've got a silver Signo, Uniball Signo pen, and it's silver glittery. It's very glittery. So what I did was I done my little berries first. Because they're in like the centre of my card there. So I know that I've done that, okay? And then the next thing I did, let's put that over there. The next thing I did was I got a piece of card. I'd use this one. I still can use this afterwards anyway if I want to. And I just placed it that way. I just placed it against my lines, my straight edges of my stencil, and went round, but didn't go over the gaps. I'll show you what I mean now. Because my card is hot, my pen doesn't want to work. So, hope you can see that. So I didn't go anywhere where there's a gap to break up that pattern. And then I also went round on the inside of my pattern. So I got a nice silver edge. A nice silver edge to my frame. I really hope you can see that. Because I'm sitting lower than my phone, I can't actually see whether you can see or not. I know you can see the mica, you saw the mica earlier. And then I'm going to do the same all the way round. So I hold it up straight onto that edge. And my pen's now working. So we're going to go from that edge to that edge. Once again, I'm not covering up the breaks in the pattern. I'm leaving the breaks there. So where there's no ink, I don't do a line. So I'm only going on the actual frame that's actually inked up. Where you can still see the background, I haven't put my silver line. All the girls have done some wonderful samples, demos. And there we go. So that's the outside edge done. And now I'll just finish off the inside edge. Take that right up to the line. And then on the inside of this one, still not covering up them breaks where there's no ink. I'm just checking. So that's part of the frame there. That's a leaf. That's part of the frame on that little bit. And then from the end of the frame to the beginning of that little leaf there. See, can you see? I'm sure, I hope you can see. One, two, right, so that's actually done. So now I just need to do my berries at the bottom of my card and give them a silver sheen. And there we go. And that's our card finished. So the next thing to do is to mount our card up. So on my original card, I've gone round the edge of my actual topper with the silver pen as well, and that will go on top of there. And then I've done, this is 14 centimeters. My mat and layer is 15 centimeters, and my card is 16.5 centimeters. So just to finish off our topper, I put some silver splashes on with some mica powder. So I'm using a fan brush, my mica powder, which I'm going to sprinkle onto my mat. You don't need a huge amount. I was really hoping that I had some sweet poppy, but I used it all up. So that's got to go on my shopping list. And then sprinkle. So I'm using white because I think I want it to stand out a bit more. So I'm just picking it up on the edge of my fan brush. Then I'm using the wooden end of my now I've lost my stamp. Right, okay. So just gently tap down the bottom. If you don't want it to go on your words, then just cover up your words and gently tap. That was a bit too hard. That looks quite effective. And then do the same on this. Because that's got a bend in it, it won't affect. So pick up some more. And put some more splashes in the opposite corner. Pick that up. And there we go. So this is the original card, and this is going to be my next card. So I'm going to mat and layer it exactly the same way that I've mat and layered this card here. Take care. I hope you enjoy the rest of the inspiration day. There's plenty more to come. I wish you a wonderful weekend, and we'll be back soon in a few weeks, I think, in about a month or 6 weeks' time, with another inspirational day. Thank you for watching. Bye.